tell that. So please go ahead.
Okay, kind of cut off, but you said I can go ahead?
Yes, please.
Okay, so this comment is for you, Ms. Lee. As you know, we're always requesting infrastructure in District 33. I personally have not heard you with a plan to resolve this issue. We pay our taxes and we deserve better. I'm afraid to go to the store to drive around, and that's just a small example of the lack of resources in our district. There was a meeting on November 10th that I was not able to attend, and I don't see any minutes of the meeting or the recording online to see it. So what are we supposed to do? The community and the people that can't make it is blind to whatever you discussed that day. And that could be directly impacting me. And this doesn't seem fair to anybody. I don't know how many people attended that meeting or the one last week, but only that few were able to hear what you had to say. You know, we, the people that voted for you, expected more than what we're witnessing. You provide the developers a voice and you don't hear ours. So you will continue to hear us complain until you acknowledge us or somebody else does. I ask that you put a plan together, please.
Okay, so any Zoom meeting that I have is recorded and you can access that recording. No, I haven't taken minutes of it, but it's recorded and you can see that. What I am doing, and you say, yes, I have heard everything. One of the things that we just did in the minority caucus that you all may not know about, that I brought forth to them as we were putting our priorities. One of the things has to do with the infrastructure in the Southeast, that has been kind of ignored and we have been bypassed. And so that's one of the things that's going on in our priority list. So I understand it's easy sometimes to only see what you see at a particular meeting or to go with what somebody else says. But every time we go someplace or have a chance to talk, I always bring up that in our area, why do other areas get money and our area does not? That we need to start, I'm not waiting. So that we need to start getting it. So that is brought up and I bring that up every single time. You say that, and this meeting isn't really supposed to be for me to go back and forth with you all. It was for you to listen to what was the developer wanted, but I will stop since you said that and bring this to you. You say I give the developers a voice and I don't give you all a voice. This is my way of giving you all a voice. The developers give to you what they want, and then I'm asking you to say what you want and change it, bring it up, say, no, you don't want it, or whatever you want to do. But when they bring stuff up, I am going to bring it to you. I've had some people say, why do you keep bringing us this? We say we don't want it, because if it's brought to me, then I'm going to bring it to you so that you can see what it is. If you don't want to, if you don't want it or you don't like it, then you say those. But what I would rather you do also is tell people what you want to see. So then when I talk to them, one thing that I do is take back what you all say and say, this is what you want to see. This is what you want to see. Now, that does not mean that it's going to go forth. I have folks always say about, why are you bringing me stuff? You need to look to see how many have actually passed as well, because we're trying to make sure that it's something that the community is not satisfied, is comfortable with, or whatever, before all of that's brought through. So I am the type of person who tries to make sure that people see what it is that they want and then can be able to address that. And that's why I bring it to you all. So that's just that portion of it.
Yeah, and I understand and thank you for the explanation. And that's the one thing there's miscommunication, I think, because we don't know that they're ignoring you for the infrastructure that you're requesting. I mean, where are those plans that what are you requesting? If you bring it to the community, we will back you up and say, okay, well, we do what we have to do to push the government to help us, not just you fighting, but all of us. And I know this is not the meeting to talk about this, but like I said, I wasn't able to join the one on the November 10th. that was more to part with this. But like I said, I don't know if you discussed this and you told them that they're ignoring the caucus. So that's what I'm saying. And also there's some chat that says, where are the recordings? Because we don't know how to access them.
Okay, I'm going to ask Rosie, are you still on the line? If you can, would you tell them where the YouTube station is where they can get the recordings?
I will, excuse me, I will send out a link of the last few meetings and forward them to everyone so that they can get to them easier.
Thank you. And Rosie, now that you're on there, do you have that date when I wanted to have where you have all the divisions of Metro come in January, so we can let them know that too?
The 13th.
The 13th, because one of the things that I wanted to have was the guy from Public Works who told me when the light was going to get there, because I want him to be able to answer and tell you all what's the holdup on that, because there's certain things that I thought were going to be in place and they weren't yet. And then people are asking when. So hopefully I will have some of those specific folks who can ask those questions. So let me go back now to, because I do want, and I can't see who has a hand up or who has spoken and stuff, because like I said, I'm here on my cell phone because I had another meeting. But if you have another question now, back to the developer. And I do want to stress, this is not a slam dunk. This is not something that has been put to say, yes, we're going to do this at all. So if you have specifics that you want to tell them or want them to look at or whatever, because you all are the ones that know what is needed in the area besides redoing all of the roads. And I'm hoping that we will be, that our comments about the infrastructure will be attended to now. Since other people from the Southeast were trying to get together to let the mayor know that something needs to be done out in this area about that. And we've also asked that they also get together. If it's not Metro's road, then somebody should be able to talk to TDOT to work it out to see if we can get what we need to get. So hopefully some things will start moving, or at least people will be aware that we're like, y'all need to be paying attention to us now. But with that said, if there are some other things, some people who have not spoken or whatever that want to talk to, because I think really the park was the only main thing that we heard about. So you may want to, if there's some other things that they need to know, that they need to have in there or whatever, please go ahead.
Council Lady, this is Billy again. I'd just like to make a comment or two about the type of housing that will be put in this development. I guess I continue to be on the developer side. I don't intentionally or whatever, but it's a simple matter. Whatever they put in on that land has got to sell, or they're not going to build it. They can build $500,000 homes, which would, I don't know, I guess you think bring up the neighborhood. But if they don't sell those $500,000 homes, it just ain't going to win. Now, that's my point. And I agree with you. Take all these comments to the developer. I got no problem with that. But also keep that point in mind, that just because the community wants a big, nice, I don't know, home with a big porch or whatever, if that home with a big porch won't sell in that location and the surrounding homes, I mean, the developer's idiot for putting it there. They're not that dumb. They're smarter. And you wind up with nothing. So there's a middle point in there somewhere. Don't know where it is. All I'm saying is keep it in mind that both sides have good arguments, and I'm not at all for putting junk in there. I understand that point, but maybe something less than what the community is asking for would work.
I understand totally, Billy. And I will tell you, sometimes we have developers come in, and when I start to talk to them about what they're going to put in there, they say similar to what's already there. I will tell you all, the first thing that I tell them is, we don't want what's already there. What's already there was nice when it was put in, but time has passed and we want to do things a little higher. So I will also say to you, even though a market may be a little higher than the one right next to them, we've got people running out in our area wanting to. You see all the townhouses and stuff going up in the Cane Ridge area. We've got people running out here wanting to be out here. So mansions might not sell, but I think nice large houses will. So I do understand that a developer wants to make money, but putting something just like what's already here will not work. We need to step up a little higher, reach a little higher so that we're on that next step. Somebody else?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I would think that the developer would share your opinion on that.
Yes. One thing I wanted to step in real quick to talk about the park. One thing that I know that we'll be doing that Metro Public Works, now Nashville Department of Transportation, will make us do is we will have to improve our side of the street on Maxwell, like what's going on in the adjacent development, where we'll have to put in, we'll have to lose the roadside ditch. We'll be putting in curb and gutter. We'll be putting in sidewalk all along the frontage of the property. And what we can do then is that sidewalk would then link with the sidewalk that's being put in by the Heritage Landing development, which would basically extend a sidewalk all the way, halfway into the Pepper Tree Forest community that you're seeing there. So on the south side of Maxwell, you're going to have a continuous sidewalk all the way down. So that if we could provide a little park, there's a way to walk all the way there, and then we would have a pedestrian connection to the park area. Brandon, can you go to the next page real quick? I wanted to show an area that we can consider for a park. Can you pan down so it's in that lower left-hand corner, Brandon? It's kind of clipped off. It's hard to see in this view, but at the very bottom left-hand corner, we have some open space down there. And so we can look and see how we could facilitate, whether it's a big playground, whether it's maybe like a community dog park, something that then would interact and connect with the trails. There we go. That works, Brandon. That would then interact with the trails that we're planning to put along the eastern side, kind of along all the trees that's along the core property, so that you could come down and hang out at the little park if it's a playground for children, or if it's a dog park or a combination. And then you could walk the trail in the back and walk around and have a picnic table or two and have a picnic. So we can definitely provide some type of park facility there. Is that kind of what I think that was that Catherine, maybe? I can't remember the name. Was maybe kind of thinking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely look into that. Looks like there's a question on here in the chat that just popped up. Will Maxwell Road development require opening up other communities through a throughway? No, we won't be connecting to any other community. There's honestly no other communities for us to connect to. So there's no connection to existing communities.
So let me say this, because I have had people who a developer comes behind and say, are you going to be connecting to whatever? They said that we were told you weren't going to do that. But you did. So I will say he can speak to what he's putting up, but he can't speak to if anything else comes later, years later. So just let me say that before you try to say that nothing else is coming.
That's true. The one thing though about this property is it is surrounded on three sides by the Corps of Engineers property. So I doubt the Corps of Engineers, the Percy Priest Reservoir, is ever going to develop in any way. It's possible. You never say never, right, Antoinette? And then the property across the street is on the other side of Maxwell, which is a church property. Now there is a stub in the Davenport Downs community. I don't know if you can see that stub right there, kind of Brandon's putting the X over it. There's a little stub road right there, but it tees into that church property, and the church property has a parking lot that doesn't even connect to that. So as long as that does get developed as a church, there won't be any other connection to our community because there's no place to connect.
Cool, so it's very unlikely.
Very unlikely, unless the Corps of Engineers decides to start selling off their property. They don't like to give up their land.
I dug back into the Metro Planning Department staff report, and your proposed development will generate an additional 45 students, 21 elementary, 15 middle school, and 16 high school. This is on top of the other D.R. Horton developments, you know, immediately adjacent to this. And, you know, I don't think we can sustain that, you know, Councilmember Lee. The schools just can't sustain the level of development. And yes, I know that the latest capital improvement spending plan includes another elementary school out in Cane Ridge. But, you know, we're filling up our classrooms much too fast for quality education.
Okay, yeah, I hear that.
And it looks like the Army Corps of Engineer property stops access to the lake, correct? There will be no access to the lake from the neighborhood?
Currently, there is not. We are not permitted to tie into the Corps of Engineer property in any way. There's no paths or roads back into the lake. Would that stop somebody from walking through the woods back to the lake? No, but there would be no formal direct access to the lake. Now, Maxwell Road does dead end, and there is a gate at the end of the road for the Corps of Engineers. But, you know, again, never say never. The Corps could make a connection through there and put a road through there someday in the future. But right now, no, there is no connection. It would be great if there was a connection in some sort of a Corps recreation center down there that the community could enjoy, but that's obviously Corps of Engineers property.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else have something specific that they would like to see changed? You talked about the overcrowding, didn't really talk about the density. I don't know if the density is something that'll have to be changed if they look at doing a big park or whatever. It's hard on just a map, I guess, to see about the type of landscaping. I know that was spoken about. I don't think anybody said anything about a tree buffer all the way around. Sometimes that's something that I share with developers as well. So we've got like about 10, almost 15 more minutes. If somebody else wants, because I can't see the hands, if somebody else wants to have a word. Okay, if we want to close this down early, I don't know if the developers want to say anything else. I think they're hearing very clear what you all are suggesting. I don't know if they want to say anything else. If so, then I'll give you a chance to kind of do some final ones. And if somebody doesn't, hope I have a question, then we can close it down a couple of minutes early.
Yeah, we heard some of the suggestions, and we'll go back and tweak the plan and get it back to you, Ms. Lee, and we'll kind of go from there.
Now, there won't be any more community meetings or anything this month, so there won't be any more meetings until 2022. Woo! And Rosie told you all when I was going to have the district meeting. So if there is somebody in the district that you really want to hear of that I don't usually have down on the agenda when I bring all the Metro departments in, please email me at the Lee4D33 at gmail.gov. What else you would really like to see, and we'll try to put that on there. Are there any more comments?
Thank you
And
for your
since,
time.
yeah, and I can't even see from my phone the chat. So you all checked whatever was needed in the chat, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. I've been trying to answer questions as we kind of went.
Okay. All right, great. Well, thank you all. And I will not be talking to some of you again this year, I don't think, maybe. But I hope everybody has a very blessed holiday and you all keep safe. And thank you so very much for at least coming over to see what was on there. And I appreciate all of you all, even though sometimes it may seem that there's challenges in our district. Hopefully together we can all meet them.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Ms. Rosie. And Ms. Rosie, don't forget to send out to everybody how to get, where to find the meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, dear.